Hi, I am Mary J. Mora. I am the next reporter, and I hope you listen and internalize those acts that I will elaborate this time, because this act is related to those who have the disabilities and for those who are belong in a senior citizen. So the first Republic Act that I elaborate is the 10366 of 2013, which means this is authorizing the Commission on Elections to establish the present assigned to accessible polling places is exclusively for persons with disabilities and seniors. So this Republic Act immunizing the those disabled person and those senior citizens. They want to ensure them to vote even if they have the exclusively um, impairment problems. So we have here the section 1.1, the declaration of policy. So this state shall ensure that persons with disabilities and senior citizens are able to exercise their right to political participation without discrimination or restriction. So all of them has the right, all of us has the right to vote. And toward this end, this state shall design systems and procedures that will enable persons with disabilities and senior citizens to have they need to register and vote by themselves, and they need to participate um, in order to have uh, in order to have and we got a perfect leader to our country. So we have here the section 2, the definition of terms as used in this act. They have A, commissioner refers to commission on elections, and we have B, persons with disabilities. This refer to qualified voters who have a long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairments which in interaction with various barriers may hinder their full and effective participation in the electoral processes on an equal basis with others. So even if they had the disability, as long as they have the long-term physical, mental, and intellectual or sensory impairments, they need to vote. So we have here C, senior citizens refer to qualified voters who are 60 years old or older. So this those senior citizens, if you are 60 and or older, so you are belong in the senior citizens. So there do have here D, electrical uh, electoral processes refer to election related activities and proceedings including registration, candidacy, campaign, voter education, and casting of vote. And we have for E, assistance refers to any support or aid that may be extended to persons with disabilities and senior citizens for them to meaningfully and effectively participate in the electoral process. So even if they had the assistance support for those who have this for those who have their disability and those senior citizens. Letter F, discrimination on the basis of disability means any distinction, inclusion, or restriction on the basis of disability which has the effect of impairing or nullifying the recognition, enjoyment, or exercise on an equal basis with others of all human rights and fundamental freedoms, including denial of reasonable accommodation. So this means we have the right, we have the freedom to choose and we have the freedom, and they have the freedom for those with disabilities to choose who will be the right person to put on that position. Letter G, universal design means the design of products, environments, programs, and services to be usable by all people to the greatest extent possible without the need for adaptation or specialized design, but shall not exclude assistive devices for particular groups of persons with disabilities where there is needed. So we have here the H. Satellite registration refers to registration conducted by an election officer in established satellite offices located in a public place within his or her area of jurisdiction. So it accepts the application for registration, transfer or transfer reactivation, reactivation of registration records, change or correction of entries, and validation of registration from all registrants or voters residing within the election officer's territorial jurisdiction. So it means that if their application that need to conducted for those who are willing to candidacy rather. So letter I, we have here special registration refers to registration conducted in established satellite offices by a special registration team designated by the Commission. It exclusively caters to first-time person with disability and senior citizen registrants residing outside the area of jurisdiction of the regular election officer conducting the satellite registration. So the satellite registration is something that if you are in the other country and you registered here in the Philippines, so you should be able to vote here because you are registered in the Philippines. So this is the jurisdiction of conducting the satellite registration. So we have here the J. This is accessible polling place refers to venue where the Board of Election Inspectors conduct the election-related proceedings and where the voters cast their votes. The accessible polling places shall be located at the ground floor, preferably near the entrance of the building, and is free of physical barriers and provided with necessary services, including the assistive devices. So, with this accessible polling place, especially this Republic Act 10366, they point in to those have the disability and senior citizens. So they shall be located in the ground floor because when they located is in the higher floor, so they are exclusively not feeling happy because they have the disability, right? So we need to be mindful that they need be located at the ground floor and preferably near the entrance of the building that para hindi na lang sila mahihirapan. Okay. So we have here the section 3, the right to participation in electoral processes. So this state shall guarantee the political rights of persons with disability and senior citizens in line with the concept of universal design. So we have here the ensuring the voting procedures, facilities, materials are appropriate, accessible, and easy to understand and use. So it means that when they have this election facilities, they need to be understandable for those disabilities and senior citizens, especially the senior citizens, because those senior citizens, they are they have the impairment of their eyes, and also they have the impairment of their ears. So when that person, so they need the action, they need the guide, they need to guide them. So we here, they need the protecting the right of persons with disabilities and senior citizens to vote by the secret ballot in elections without intimidation, facilitating the use of assistive and new technologies where appropriate. So they need the right, they need to protect the person who have the intimidate to vote their bias. So we have here the C, guaranteeing the free expression in the exercise of the right of suffrage of persons with disabilities and senior citizens, allowing assistance in voting by a person of their own choice. So yes, we have the freedom to choose, diba? So they need the assistance by voting their own choice. So we have here the section 4, duty of the commission to render the assistance to persons with disability and senior citizens. So this duty of the commission is to render the appropriate assistance to persons with disabilities and senior citizens in coordination with the government agencies and civil society organizations. See, they need the assistance, and it's very appropriate, and it's very needing that the government agencies do that to those have the disabilities and those senior citizens. So we have here the section 5, record of persons with disabilities and senior citizens. So the this commission keep an updated record of persons with disabilities and senior citizens who are registered as the voters. So the record shall be made accessible to concerned government offices, accredited citizens' arms, civil society monitoring groups, and other organizations which promote the rights of the persons with the disabilities and senior citizens. These subject to specific guidelines the Commission may promulgate to protect the privacy of the individuals concerns. So, yeah, this commission, there's a lot of the department will help those disability and those who are senior citizens. So we have heard of this, the DSWD, diba? They promulgate to protect, and they give aids to the individuals. So we have here the section 6, registration and updating of records. So in designing the forms, the Commission must ensure the persons with disability and senior citizen applying for registration, reactivation, transfer, or correction of entry indicated the types of disability as well as the form of assistance needed. So we need and they need to ensure and reactivate their voters, updating their registration, voters registration. Yes. So we have here the section 7, assistance in accomplishment of application form. So a person with disability or a senior citizen who cannot by himself or herself accomplish an application for registration by reason of illiteracy or physical disability shall be assisted by the election officer in the preparation of his or her application form, or by any member of an accredited citizen's arm, or by relative the consanguinity or affinity within a fourth civil degree, or if he or she has none present, by any person of his or her of confidence who belongs to the same household. So, by the assistance of the application form, they need the person who the same household, so they need to guide them, and they need to assisted by the election officer, or maybe your parents, or maybe the daughter or son that you assisted by accomplishment your application form. So we have here the section 8, satellite and special registration. So the commission they coordinate with the national government agencies and local government units. So person with disability and senior citizen organization and other the cause-oriented groups, they conduct the satellite or special registration for persons with disabilities and senior citizens in accessible basis. So the disability person and those senior citizen person, they conduct the special registration in order them that para hindi na sila mahirapan. So we have here the section 9, creation of present for person with disability and senior citizen. So the commission is hereby authorized to establish the present of non-territorial nature, so exclusively for persons with disabilities and senior citizen who in their registration records manifest their intent to avail their right to separate present under this section. So pursuant hereto, the commission shall establish at least one such present assigned to accessible places for every voting center. The such present shall be provided with assistive devices as well as the services of experts in assisting persons with disabilities. So we have heard section 10, the ballot design. In designing the ballot, the commission shall ensure reasonable accommodation to persons with disabilities and senior citizens to enable them to accomplish the ballot by themselves. So we have here the section 11, assistance in accomplishment of ballot. A person with disability or senior citizen who is illiterate or physically unable to prepare the ballot by himself or herself may be assisted in the preparation of his or her ballot by a relative by consanguinity or affinity within the fourth civil degree, or if he or she has none, by any person of his or her confidence who belongs to the same household, or by any member of a BEL. So we have here section 12, sensitivity training program. So this commission, they coordinate with the National Council of Disability Affairs or NSDA, also the Commission of Human Rights CHR, and the person with disability and the senior citizen organizations shall organize, design, and implement sensitivity trainings to person performing electoral duties. So they including the commission field officers, members of the BIs, and accredited citizens' arms to familiarize them with the needs of the person with disabilities and senior citizens. So we have here the section 13, information materials that shall ensure that information materials relating to the electoral processes are appropriate and accessible to persons with disabilities and senior citizens. So we've heard the section 14, appropriations. So the essential funding of this act shall be charged against the current year's appropriations or from any available savings of the commission. Thereafter, such amount as may be necessary for the continued implementation of this act shall be included in the annual General Appropriation Act. So we have here the section 15, implementing rules and regulation. So within 60 days from the effectivity of this act, the Commission shall promulgate the implementing rules and regulations. So we have here the section 16, separability clause. Should any provision of this act be declared invalid or unconstitutionally, the validity or constitutionality of the other provisions shall not be affected thereby. So this Republic Act was approved by the Senator Feliciano Belmonte Jr., the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and also the Senator Juan Ponce Enrile, the President of the Senate. So this act, which is a consolidation of Senate Bill number 3287 and House Bill number 5509, was finally passed by the Senate and the House of Representatives of December 19 of 2012. So this Republic Act approved in the February 15, 2013 with the under of the President of the Philippines, which is Benigno Aquino. Proclamation number 688 of 2013. So this is declaring the period of 2013 to 2022 as the Philippine Decade of the Make the Right Real for persons with disabilities in support of the third ASEAN and Pacific Decade of Persons with Disability. Whereas Proclamation number 125 of 1993 and Proclamation number 240 of 2002, they proclaim the nationwide observance in the Philippines of the ASEAN and Pacific Decade of Persons with Disabilities in 1993 to 2002 and 2003 to 2012 respectively. So they high-level the intergovernmental meeting on the final review of the implementation of the ASEAN and Pacific Decade of Disabled Person. So we have here the 2003 to 2012. It was held at the Incheon, the Republic of the Korea, from 29th of October to 2 of November 2012. So during the said meeting, the participants, which included the Philippine delegation, adopted the Ministerial Declaration on the ASEAN and Pacific Decade of Persons with Disability and the in-kind strategy to make the right real for persons with disabilities in Asia and Pacific. And also during the National Council on Disability Affairs, the regional consultations with Organization of Persons with Disability, the observance of a third decade of persons with disabilities for the period of 2013 to 2022. So it was recommended to build on the gains towards the disability inclusive development. Now, therefore, the former President Benigno Aquino, he, virtue of the powers vested in me by law, he said that he declared the period of 2013 to 2022 as the Philippine Decade of Make the Right Real for persons with disability in support of the third ASEAN and Pacific Decade of Persons with Disability. So, the National Council on Disability Affairs is hereby directed to lead all disability-related efforts by formulating and issuing a comprehensive national plan of action for the decade, or the national plan, which translates the objectives of Batas Pambansa of 344 Republic Act number 7277, 9442, 10070, and 10524, and the other disability related laws. So we have programs and policies into concrete programs, activities, and projects. So all the departments, agencies, and instrumentalities of the national government and local government units in consultation with the private sector. So we have civil society organizations, non-government organizations, and disabled people's organizations are enjoined to implement plans, programs, and activities geared towards the development of the person with disabilities in accordance with the NKION strategy, thereby translating its goals, the targets, and all its indicators into the national plan with achievable and measurable outputs. So by implementing this plan, it's very helpful for those who have that disability. It will make boast their confident, and they never look down on their self to render the things that they want to do, and it's very helpful for that. So the funds necessary for the implementation of the provisions herein shall be sourced from the appropriations of concerned government agencies, in with this whereof this set cause the sale of the Republic of the Philippines to be affixed. So done in the city of Manila, this 22nd day of November in the year of our Lord 2013. So this law is under by the President for former President Benigno Aquino. So the next one is the Republic Act 10524 of 2013. This act is expanding the position reserved for person with disability, amending for the purpose Republic Act number of the 7277 as amended, or otherwise known as the Magna Carta for persons with disability. So this is enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the Philippines in Congress assembled. So we have here the section 1, the equal opportunity for employment. So it's very rendered, and it's very important that we need to have an equal amended to others, even if they have these abilities. We need to respect, and we need to be patient to them. So this equal opportunity for employment, this shall be denied access to opportunities for suitable employment. So this opportunity is not based on those perfect physical. They give the opportunity to those who have the disability. So a qualified employee with disability shall be subject to the same terms and conditions of employment and the same compensation, privileges, benefits, fringe benefits, incentives, or allowances as a qualified able-bodied person. So even if they are disability person, they have the terms and conditions when they have on that particular place. So they have the benefits in order them to have the courage, even if they have the disability. So at least 1% of all positions in all government agencies, offices, or corporal areas shall be reserved for persons with disability. So the private corporations with more than 100 employees are encouraged to reserve at least 1% of all positions for persons with disabilities. So it means that all government agencies, they need, or private corporations, they need at least 1% of all the positions with the person that have the disability. So we have here the section 2, implementing rules and regulations. So they have here the department that will consultate the disability organizations. The implementing rules and regulations pertain to the provisions of this act within 6 months after the effectivity of this act. So these are the Department of Labor and Employment, the Civil Service Commission, the National Council on Disability Affairs, the Government's Commission for Government-Owned or the Controlled Corporation, the Department of Health, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, and the Bureau of Internal Revenue. So those are they consultate those people who have the disability to have the formulate and implementing rules and regulation to them. So we have here the section 3, separability clause. Should any provision of this act be found unconstitutionally by a court of law, such provision shall be served from the remainder of this act, and such action shall not affect the enforceability of the remaining provisions of this act. We have here the section 4, repealing clause. All laws, presidential decrees, executive orders, and the rights and regulations inconsistent with the provisions of this act are hereby repealed or modified accordingly. We have here the section 5, effectivity clause. So this act shall take effect 15 days after its publication in 2 newspapers of general circulation. So this is not easy. You get the 15 days after that, after they publicate it to the newspapers to have in general circulation. So this act, which is consolidation of Senate Bill number 337 and the House Bill number of 5475, was finally passed by the Senate and the House of the Representatives on February 4, 2013 and February 5, 2013, and respectively. This law is under the former President Benigno Aquino. So we have here also the Republic Act 10754 of 2016. This act expanding the benefits and privileges of persons with disabilities. So it means they expanding the benefits to those who have the disability, and also the privilege of the rewards of them, even if they are disability person. So all of us has the right, and also we need to be respect and be kind to them. So this is enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the Philippines in Congress and assembled by the Section 1, the Section 32 Republic Act number 7277, as amended, otherwise known as the Magna Carta for Persons with Disability. So we have here the Section 2, Section 33 of Republic Act number 7277 as amended is hereby further amended to read as the incentives. So what are those incentives? So those caring for and living with a PWD shall be granted of the following incentives. So the incentives of them is they gain the SSS just like that, and every month they receive the benefits. So we have heard the Section 3, implementing rules and regulations. So this is the same from the other act. So they provided the failure of concerned agency is to promulgate the said rules or regulations shall not prevent the implementation of this act upon this effectivity. So they promulgate it to have the effective implementation of the provisions of this act. So we have here the Section 4, separability clause. If any provision of this act is declared invalid or unconstitutionally, other provisions hereof which are affected thereby shall remain in full force and effect. So we have here the Section 5, repealing clause. All laws, orders, decrees, rules, and regulations and other parts therefore inconsistent with the provisions of this act are hereby repealed, amended, or modified accordingly. So we have here the Section 6, effectivity. So this act shall take effect in 15 days after its publication in the official gazette or in 2 newspapers of general circulations. So this act, which is consolidation of this House Bill number 1039 and Senate Bill number 2890, was passed by the House of Representatives and the Senate on December 16, 2015 and December 15, 2015. So this act is under the former President Benigno Aquino. So they approve it on March 23, 2016. So we have here the last one, Republic Act 11228 of 2019. This act is providing for the mandatory health coverage for all persons with disabilities, amending for the purpose Republic Act number 7277 as amended, otherwise known as the Magna Carta for persons with disability. So this is enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the Philippines in Congress assembled. So we have here the Section 1, Title 2, Chapter 3 of the Republic Act number 7277 as amended is hereby further amended by adding a new section denominated as Section 20-A to read as follows. Section 20-A, mandatory health coverage, that all persons with disabilities shall be automatically covered under the National Health Insurance Program of the Philippines Insurance Corporation. Premium contribution for all PWDs shall be paid by the national government. So it means that all person with the disability, they automatically under the National Health Insurance Program. So they never sad if they're going to hospital because they are covered the National Health Insurance. So they are needed. They did not needed to pay their health bill. So we have here the Section 2, monitoring and evaluation. So this department is relevant even if they are belong to government agencies or non-government organization. They shall conduct a periodic monitoring and evaluation of the implementation of this act. So these are the department that they conduct monitoring. So we have here the Department of Health, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, the Department of Labor and Employment, the National Council on Disability Affairs, and the local government units. So toward this, the Department of Health shall maintain an updated database on the PWDs and their health and development needs. So the LGUs and the agencies are directed submit their data to the DOH. So we have here the section 3, implementing rules and regulations. So the PhilHealth, in consultation with the DOH, the DSWD, the DOLE, and NSDA, are the various national leagues of the LGU shall be promulgate the IRR within 3 months upon the effectivity of them. So we have our section 4, repealing clause, all laws, decrees, executive orders, rules, and regulations are part thereof which are inconsistent with this act are hereby repealed, amended, or modified accordingly. So we have heard the section 5, effectivity. So this act shall take effect after 15 days from its publication on the official gazette or in a newspaper of general circulation. So this act, which is consolidation of Senate Bill number 1391 and House Bill number 8014, was passed by Senate and the House of Representatives. This act, law, approved it with February 22, 2019 under the President Rodrigo Roa Duterte on December 10 of 2018. And that's all. I think this act that I elaborate this day is more related to those who have the disability. So it's not consolidate if you are a disability person. You cannot do a work, you can do the thing that you want. It's all about impossible. It's all about possible thing that we can do to that. If that person can do that, why can you? It is all about the government that will help the person that sometimes they look down and they need some people will cheer up to them. So it's very helpful to those acts that are related to those who have the disability and to those who belong to the senior citizens. It's very helpful, and also they have the benefits and they are automatically, and it's very very happy that they are belong to them, and they are prioritized. And I think that's all. Thank you, and I hope you understand this act, and I hope also that you will spread this one to those who have the disability, to know them, to know that the government is here and they will help them.